Okay, we're gonna go ahead and cut because we have a guest.
Oh shit! It's time, guys.
Okay, see you later, son. Hey, I just had to get my son to help me get on the link.
I sent Paris the link just in case. I had a feeling. I'm like, you know what? Let me send it to him again.
Yeah.
Welcome
because,
to the show, Tommy Chong.
I'm old and decrepit and can't think of shit, you know. So.
You too, huh?
You're looking fantastic.
Yeah, is there others?
No.
It's not just me.
You're the best looking 84-year-old we've ever had on the show. Ever.
How many have you had, though?
You 3 previous times. You were
Maybe
83,
2 or 3.
84.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I got the link there. How's that?
Perfect.
So nice.
If you want to turn your phone sideways, we'll see more of you. But we'll see if it works. Sometimes it doesn't.
Okay, we'll try it. That's fine.
Nope, go back.
It's
Just
okay. Nah.
Don't sweat it.
Tried to get on the iPad, but apparently it's not. I couldn't find it. Well, probably it's me. Anyway, let's not tempt fate.
So
Right?
We
got a connection. We're good.
And we have that copy of Clerks here for you on VHS.
Oh, we found
if you
it.
wanted it back.
That's a funny bit, huh?
Yeah, it was great. I
That
binge
was a
watched.
funny bit.
You were amazing on it. I mean, absolutely amazing. Even though they only gave you 2 episodes, you should have been on every single one.
But it's the writing.
Yeah,
That's what and they use me as spice. You know, they want to get the young crowd, and so the young kids have to have the stage. You know, and I come in for the old stoners. You know.
Yeah, you were welcome. You were absolutely welcome.
It's a fun show. I love the '70s show, and this one's even more fun. You know, almost.
Will there be a season 2? Are you letting anything out of the bag?
Oh, I have no idea. You know, they asked me. They said, "How do you think the show will do?" And I said, "Well, personally, I don't give a shit."
Honest.
Yeah. No, if you gotta work. If it works, great. You're a hero. You know. And if it don't, well, try again.
For sure.
It's all about mistakes. We're here to learn from our mistakes because we sure don't learn from our victories. You know.
Then I should be the smartest person on the planet because I've made like 15 just today. I told everybody for the past 3 days that you were coming on the show at 4:20 our time, and had everybody on the staff, even Adam, listen to came in early.
Everybody, we were
to
all.
be
Of course,
here
of course.
because I did stupid Dave math and didn't realize it goes the other direction. So we had a lot of fun, and we had and then no, please, we're here for you, not for me.
No, I was saying that the good news is weed gives you energy. You know, I'm serious. I was kind of limping around. You know, I'm getting up there, so I'm kind of moping around. And then I got high on this. The Chong Bong guy was here, and he brought me a nice some homegrown weed, and I smoked it up. And next thing you know, man, I felt a spring in my step. I'm bouncing around, and I'm still bouncing, so it's perfect for the show.
And no urge to try hard drugs, to shoot heroin, or do some lines of fentanyl. You didn't want to
listen. I've been tempted. Yeah, seriously, I was seriously tempted because, I'm a jazz guy. I grew up, as soon as I could find out about jazz, I did, and it changed my life. And every jazz hero of mine was a junkie, And then I get into comedy, and every comedian that I really, enjoy, and actresses and singers, and all these great people, and they were all on junk, but they all died early. And so I asked Lenny Bruce's road manager, who was also his father-in-law, because it's a funny story. Tony Biscara was his name. Tony married Lenny's mother, who lied and said she was in her 40s, and Tony lied and said he was 30. He was 18, and she was, I don't know, in her 50s, 60s, something like that.
Match made in juvenile
they
court.
got married, and Tony ended up being Lenny Bruce's everything. You know, his road manager, his helper, and his dealer. And he was the one that gave Lenny the last, the one that killed him. And so I asked Tony, we became friends. He saw Cheech and Chong, and he just loved us. And he said that we were the closest to Lenny Bruce that he had seen. And so we got to be friends. And I put him to work. I gave him a job all his life. And the reason I'm laughing is that his last job, I hired him as a writer for Nice Dreams.
Oh.
And he got paid nice, the nicest money he ever had. And he wrote. I had him write a script while he was, while he was getting high on his heroin. And I asked Tony one time before the movies and that, just right after I met him, I said, "What is this? What's the big deal with heroin? You know, why are so many people getting high and dying? You know, and talented people, intelligent people." And he didn't say anything to me. He just reached in his pocket, pulled out a packet of heroin, and handed it to me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
and so I
find
took
out
it.
for yourself. Find out for yourself. It's like,
He
great.
didn't say that. He
No.
didn't say that, but he handed it to me. And then I took it. I put it in my pocket. And then later on that day or that night, we're getting ready for bed, I took it out of my pocket and I put it in my sock drawer. And I left it there for a good month, I think. Every once in a while, I'd look at it, think about it. And then one day I went and picked it up and flushed it down the toilet.
There you go.
Because it was a test. It was a test. I knew had I failed the test, I'd be as dead as Prince or Michael Jackson or any of those guys, you know, that went out with drug-related death.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So sad.
I'm so glad that you did that because we got, many laughs from you over the years.
Yeah, and when you think about it, well, everybody's got their own karma. You know, they're coming and they're going at their own rate. So I won't even get into what if or what should have been, because all you can deal with is what is. And that's where I'm at now.
How are you on this new microdosing? What's your position on that? Everyone's taking psilocybin. Microdosing.
No, I've been there, done that shit.
Because that's another fuck up tonight. We had a friend of ours come in because he thought you were going to be in the studio with us. So he brought a whole bunch of mushroom chocolate bars for you.
We got all sorts of gifts for you now.
We have coffee here.
I've been through that whole routine, man, and I loved it when I did it, but I don't need it anymore.
So, personal question: Did you get the bagels that we sent?
Yes, thank you. I got them. My son found them for me. I get a lot of mail and stuff, and it piles up.
Good thing it didn't
But
get
my
lost.
son, thank God, Paris, he took care of me.
Good.
He takes care of me. He takes care of the old dad.
Cream cheese and lox, Paris, if you're listening. Cream cheese and lox.
No. Smoked salmon, onions, and smoked salmon,
Capers.
onions, and tomato.
Oh yeah.
Big fat tomatoes, on the bagels. Yeah.
Delicious.
Well, I put lots of love into them, and I was very, very stoned when I made them. So hopefully it translates through the bagels.
Well, thanks for the warning.
You know that you can give the bagels to your grandkids. They're safe to eat.
They're safe.
No, my grandkids, they won't eat anything unless in a candy wrapper.
Well, then I'm glad you didn't get the mushroom chocolate bars because they're in candy wrappers. So good. I'm glad you weren't here for that one.
No, I don't. No, that microdosing. I went through all that back in the day, and
Well, it was more
and
like
now that people
probably
are
more like
doing it,
macrodosing. More like macrodosing back in the day, right?
I said, well, that's what you had to do because there wasn't that much drugs, being given away free. And I don't think I ever paid for any acid, did I? No.
You weren't really supposed
No,
to.
I'm
not supposed to.
You're not supposed to anyway, right?
Yeah, you're
It's-
not supposed to.
No, everybody turns you on to acid.
Yeah.
Hey man, here's some, here's a window pane, man. Be careful.
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
Tried one drop of this, and you go, okay, thank you, and you realize as it's in your mouth, it's complete puddle, that it's not going to be a single drop. It's going to be a weekend.
And you were never the same again.
No,
we do that with gummies now.
yeah.
You
It's a
find
much
that
better path.
like I've been handed a gummy in the warning. Be careful. It's really loaded. Just do a half. And so you do a half a gummy, and then just out of habit, you do the other half.
Well, we have a producer here, Vinny, who every week makes us these chocolates that are. I'd put these chocolates up against anybody's commercial products, and because personally speaking, I sleep every Saturday morning, and so I know they work.
Yeah. Now every Saturday morning, it's literally like you get that thing where you open your eyes, and then you're like, why am I like concrete right now? Like, what is going on? And then it's like, oh shit, it was the fucking chocolates. God damn you, Vinny. And I'll send him a text every time, like, you fucked me up again. It's like, yeah.
Check out Meaty Me. Yeah.
No, that's my life.
On account of the chocolate. It's
Yeah. No, that's my life. That's exactly where I'm at now in my life. I don't know if I got COVID or if I got too stoned. You know that feeling?
Right.
Sometimes you think, because when you get older, when you start feeling new pain or something, right away you start going, oh, what does this mean? And then you find out that
it's usually
stoned or not stoned.
Right. No, for sure. And the chocolates always hit me the next day. They don't hit me on the day. I'll just eat them, and I don't feel nothing. And then it's that next morning though. You're like, fuck. And it's just remembering. You got to just you must have to put a note next to your thing like chocolate. So you look over and you're like, fuck, that's what it is.
What I did.
Because there's that moment where you're like, am I having a stroke right now or something like that? Like, what is going on? I can't move.
No, you know what? That used to happen to me with those. I took one CBD gum. I won't even say who company it was, and for some reason, it gave me the worst anxiety. And I'd always forget because I'd think to myself, I'm going to take this right before bed. And then I'd wake up 2 hours later going, what the fuck is going on? And you'll have to walk around the block a couple of fucking times.
Yeah, that's all. We're all learning from our mistakes. Remember what I said?
What are you smoking tonight?
Fan dope, I guess. I don't know what to call it. It's homegrown.
Fan
It's
dope.
homegrown.
Fan
The guy.
dope. I got fan
I
dope.
signed a lot of Chong bongs and
We know who was there.
and posters and everything else. And so
Is that
I
Jason?
Name drop.
so
What
I
a man.
so he left me a jar of some homegrown, and
Jason's
I
in
got
New York right
another jar of homegrown somewhere. Oh, it's here, right here. And I was kind of worried, because the guy said it's outdoor and it's supposed to be pretty potent, but it didn't potent me at all. So but the fan dope I just did, it got a little spring in my step, man. I started wanting to go salsa dancing,
Love it.
Salsa dancing.
More like it.
Might be.
When's the last time that you were in Colorado?
I'm afraid I can't answer that. I have to invoke my Fifth Amendment.
I feel like
Have you been doing any traveling?
She wasn't the
Yeah.
girl. She wasn't the girl I got that did it to. Last time I was in Colorado was I can't remember right now.
I feel
It
like
Must have been a good one. It must have been a good one. It's always.
Oh, it always. Hey, this is my life. Can you imagine my life?
I'm just so impressed that you're still traveling and working and
Yeah,
Dancing,
well,
dancing. Don't forget
when you're
dancing.
having
Don't
fun,
forget dancing.
there's no reason for the party to stop. You know what I mean?
so incredible.
We just
We live by that
keep
rule.
it going.
It
Keep
speaks
it
to
going.
your drive, and it also speaks to the fact that cannabis is one of those substances, a plant that you can take part and parcel with a healthy lifestyle, not instead of a healthy lifestyle.
Oh no! I mean, you can do it with cannabis, you have to deal with truth, because that's what cannabis really is. It's the ultimate lie detector. You know, you can't be devious with cannabis because you're trying to figure out what hand is the right hand and what hand is the left hand. Sometimes.
Well, no, I find I can be devious because everybody asks me, "Do you like that weed?" And I have to lie sometimes and tell them it was great.
Oh yeah, because it is great.
All your fan dope.
You know? No, it could be you. You know the biblical thing where they say, "Judge not." Do you know how important that commandment is?
Oh.
Think about this. If you don't judge, then you got nothing to bitch about.
That is so beautifully put.
Truth. Very true. Very true.
Isn't that? Think about that.
Yeah.
Not judging, and there's no real reason to judge anything. I mean, who gives a shit if you think it's good or bad? You know, what does it mean? It is. And whether it's good or bad on you, it's debatable. Maybe, maybe there's a lot of maybes in there. And so if you don't judge, think about this. If you don't judge, then you can go through life. That's why I've been studying up on the commandments, because what really makes living a lot of fun is the rules. See, and these rules, if the right rules now, righteous rules, like the 10 Commandments, they are the most righteous rules ever given to us. And they're given to us spiritually. And so if you follow the rules, you can have a really happy, interesting, fulfilled life with nothing but love in your life. Think about that, man. I mean, we have to have the traumas and the chaos and all that, because that's why we're here. We're here to learn. Earth is like a learning place that you come and work. It's a gym. You can come in and work on your weaknesses. You know what I'm saying?
And you found a great wife.
Yeah, but because the spiritual world is, there's nothing there. There's nothing in the spiritual world. Nothing. That's why they depict heaven as sitting on a cloud playing a harp. Because there is nothing in the spiritual world except love. Isn't that crazy?
Oh,
Yes.
no, it's
And
hopeful.
And I love that you talk about the value in, respecting those 10 commandments and like the discipline and reward that people get out of being a good person, though, and being conscious about those things.
Yeah, I mean, if you're unhappy, it's because you are breaking one of the commandments. Basically.
That's so
No,
cool.
you're not supposed to go through life, just be smiling and everything, unless you're kind of like me. But we have to learn. We have to have our traumas. I have my stuff all the time, but now that I'm older, I'm enjoying it more, because I kind of laugh at myself, for the dumb habits that I still have after all these years, But
Well, that's interesting. What would you do if you could go back in a time machine and teach younger Tommy Chong one thing? What would you tell him? What would be the one change you would make?
Oh, keep going, man. You can't believe what's happening next.
Aw.
No,
So
man, there is, I all my mistakes were just perfect. like I say, you learn from your mistakes,
Right.
Like and it was instinct too. I was so blessed because I was born of a mixed race family, So when I come out, first thing I was told that you're half Chinese, and therefore you're different, And some kids could play with me, and other kids weren't allowed to, that kind of thinking, And so I was lucky, because what happened, and then everything that happened to me, it sounds like a disaster, but it all worked out so well. Like my mother got TB when I was still a toddler. I was barely 2 or 3 years old, and then she ended up in the hospital. And you talked about she was quarantined for away from us for about 5 years.
Whoa, that's crazy.
And back in the day, they never had the medicine they have now. So when she got tuberculosis, they had to operate, and they took out a lung, one of her lungs, and then they discovered the medicine that saved the lungs and everything else. But I didn't see her for a good period of time. In the meantime, my dad had been in the Second World War, and he had some war injuries, injuries from being overseas, and so he had to put all us kids, it was my older brother and my younger sister, in the Salvation Army home.
Wow.
And so I was in an orphanage. But before I went to the orphanage, I had to go to the hospital myself, because I had because once you're someone in the family gets TB, then the whole family gets checked out, and they found a spot on my lung. So I ended up spending about a year and a half in the hospital.
Wow.
And so my early memories was being hugged by beautiful nurses and being passed around as, he's a cute little brown guy. And I remember them very vividly. And then I went from the hospital right into the home. My dad had to drive me to the home, and I went from one loving thing into an orphanage, basically.
Wow.
And the first day I was in the orphanage, first night, the kids at the orphanage played a trick on me, and they were jumping off the lockers next to the bed, onto the bed. And to me, it sounded like, this is what you do. This is what everybody does. And of course, I got caught on the top of the locker.
Of course.
And I got drugged down to the office, and I got corporal punished. And I had no idea. I had never been hit in my life before, or even yelled at, that I can remember. I didn't know what being bad was. And so when they took me to the office downstairs, and she told me to hold out your hand, I held up my hand, and she whacked it with a belt or something. Then she said, hold out the other hand. I held it up. She whacked that. I didn't cry because I was shocked. I didn't know what was going on. And I kind of looked at her, and then she said, now go to bed and behave. This will happen again.
Thanks for that.
So I'm going to bed, and then halfway up the stairs, I kind of tripped, and my hands hit the dirt on the floors, and that's when I started crying. That's the only time I can remember crying. And so I went to bed, and I kind of cried myself to sleep. But because it was a new experience, it wasn't like I was taken out of a home. I was taken out of a hospital into this. And so my life has been full of just these experiences. And so, my early time in the orphanage, I was a young kid. And the older boys would take everything, that they, like at breakfast time, the older kids would take all the good food, and then the younger ones were left with whatever was left. But the thing that I got turned on to right away was constant praying, because they did you prayed before every meal, the Salvation Army.
Yeah.
And so we shared the pulpit. And so I got an early religious training right off the bat, and it stuck with me, and it's still with me. And I found out, then I started looking around and reading books, but I went to Bible camp when I was 8 years old, and I learned how to pray. And that's the story of my life, because once you learn how to pray, the world is yours. You can have anything you want, anything you can imagine, anything you can desire. And if you think I'm wrong, just look at my life. Just look at, I've got one of the most gorgeous ladies in the world as my wife. And I've had her in my life ever since she was 16 years old. And my first wife, black, beautiful black lady. She was another lady that I met when she was 14, and her brother and I played in a band. In fact, her brother was our drummer for the longest time until he quit and joined another band called the Three Dog Night, and that was Floyd. And so my life has been phenomenal.
That's beautiful.
Phenomenal in any way, any shape, any way you look at it. And I owe all that to my early Bible training. And I'm not. There's not any religion. There's no one religion. In fact, I have a problem with every organized religion, because I can see the faults in all of them.
It all comes down to
but again, I judge not, and so I can accept everything.
I happen to be watching. That's a beautiful story. Absolutely.
It all
beautiful.
comes down to that pretzel on the bus.
I was watching a TV show that I had recorded called Interview with the Vampire, and recognized a character in there from I believe that's your daughter, right?
Ray Dunn?
Yeah. Is in Interview with a Vampire.
Yeah, she was in that. Yeah.
Yeah, I have this thing with faces, and the last time I think I saw her in a movie was in Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the 80s. I don't know if you remember, it was a long time ago. Strange.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Arnold loved Ray Dunn. Oh no, Ray Dunn is something. My wife's trying to call me on the phone here.
Yeah, because we probably took you too long. I think.
Oh no, hold on, just a minute.
Danny said we were only supposed to have him for 30 minutes. He might come back, he might not.
That's so nice.
He's still there.
Okay. Look at you, Mark. Knowing how to produce the show.
Produce
Tommy is just it's so crazy.
That was so great.
Because I didn't
expect that from Tommy, to be honest with you. He got kind of.
He always does that with us.
He gets real like.
There he is. He's back. There he is.
I'm back.
Excellent.
Oh, so good to see.
And Danny told us we were only supposed to have you for 30 minutes. So if we don't want to be disrespectful of your time, you have a family.
Oh no! Hey, listen. Any chance I get to ramble on, I'll take it.
No, I think there's so many people that needed to hear that.
This is the fourth time this happened. The first time I remember John Paul said you can have him for 30 minutes, and you were on the show for an hour and 20.
So, I know.
That's so kind.
We love it. Everybody loves
We
it.
really
But again, I want to be
appreciate it.
respectful. So anytime you need to go, you can just hit that end button and we're fine with it.
Yeah. We got time. We're okay.
You have any new projects coming on? I know your whole cannabis brand is really booming. Your bongs, your edibles.
Cheech and I are about to do a movie where our characters are old. They got old.
You don't
and they
say.
meet up.
No makeup required.
They meet up. They meet up, and Cheech's character has had a pretty rough life. He'd been in jail, and my character, same thing. He's had a pretty. He's homeless, and we get together, and it's a movie, but yet. It's full of surprises, but it does a lot of flashbacks to our earlier career, which I guess we'll get actors to play the young Cheech and Chong.
And that's going to be a sought-after role.
And before we do that even, there's a documentary that my other daughter, Robbie, has been working with Dave on this documentary, and it's in the can, basically. It's locked down. And it's just a straight docudrama, more or less. It's Cheech and I talking about, what could have been, what was, what happened, and we're in the desert. It's really interesting. It's incredible. And it shows all our early interviews with Geraldo Rivera and all these I've never seen before Cheech and Chong interviews, all sorts of good stuff. And so it's going to be a couple of years of the Cheech and Chong phenomenon. You know.
Oh, that's great.
That's
you have
great.
a whole new generation of fans that you can bring on into the
It's
fold.
funny how the Earth keeps producing these people.
I saw that Cheech opened up his museum that he was talking about when he was on the show last time.
It's getting all
But it actually
Yeah,
officially opened like a couple weeks ago.
The Cheech, I'm jealous. Oh my God. You have no idea. I lay awake nights planning the Chong. The Chong's going to be open 24 hours.
Well, if you need any Up in Smoke LPs, I think I still have a few of them with the original rolling papers in my closet.
I think the Chong, we're going to. It's going to be a jazz club. I've always wanted a jazz club, and my son says, "I thought you wanted a comedy club." I said, "Well, jazz clubs, the comedy clubs, are the same thing."
Right.
Package.
It's going to be a jazz club. It's going to be an art gallery to show off my art, especially my stoner bong art. And like I say, it's going to be open 24 hours. You know, I realize part of the homeless problem is that there's no establishments open 24 hours like back in the day.
Oh.
See, people, you know, back in the 60s, on 50s, 60s, you know, they had things like all-night movie theaters, like in Chicago, in the ghetto areas, and they would be open 24 hours.
Right.
And in fact, New York, remember, New York was the city that never slept.
Right.
Remember that?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
it never slept, but it
COVID.
certainly was gross. for
Oh
a
no,
while.
it's totally gross.
Yeah.
But
there was actually-
There was- but there was
they
always
never
something
allowed
right.
people living on the street in tents.
Right.
Yeah.
You see, so there was always hovels. There are places they could go, but there's also 24 hours there. See, a lot of homeless people, it's not about having a nice comfy bed at night and, you know, a tent over your head. Oh, that helps. Now, a lot of it is that they for some reason they're not in a position to be able to afford to rent a house or to rent a room or, you know, to pay that kind of money, you know.
Right.
And their job, like I've been through it, you know, where you're just trying to feed yourself or feed your family and get by, you know. And a lot of times there's a lot of wealthy people that went through the homeless situation because, like I say, you only learn from your mistakes, and that's what the homeless people are really doing. They're learning, you know. And I think we could make it easier on everybody if we made more places accessible 24 hours a day, like gyms or, you know, places where you don't have to sleep, you can go work out. You know.
Yeah, it's. I mean, now it's become such a different sort of scenario though too, because places are, you know, that would probably entertain that idea are just like, hell no, we're not going to have a bunch of homeless people coming in our place because we've let it go way beyond what it could
Not
have
in
been.
my backyard.
And so definitely, right.
Oh yeah. Not my yard, not my neighborhood.
Yeah, somewhere else,
You know,
please.
not my club, not my whatever.
You're just
No, it's okay.
It's too bad.
such a good person, Tommy.
Oh, thank you. No, you know, as you get older, you know, you got a choice. You know, and if I've been blessed, and that's what cannabis does to you. It gives you all these great thoughts, man. Like I figured out a way to basically put the world on the right track. You know what everybody's clamoring for now? Everybody around the world, they're clamoring for press coverage.
Right.
Yeah.
They're fighting for press coverage. Basically, that's what the war in the Ukraine is. It's for the press to get notoriety. So Putin can show all the oil people that he's doing his job. He's starting a war because it's all about oil. And as the world knows, in fact, I love the way Earth can shut us down. You know, they've got all these warnings, you know, about climate control and Earth's heating up, and everybody ignores them, especially the oil producing people, because that's their income. And so the Earth goes, okay, yeah, that's time for pandemic time, you know. And they shut everything, you know, all of a sudden no one's flying, no one's driving, no one's going anywhere. And still, you know, and then like Putin starts his war, but the war is necessary, believe it or not. You know, there's no mistakes, just like Trump is not a mistake. He's a mistake in a lot of ways, but he's teaching us what's wrong with our system. Mm-hmm. He's showing us. Him and his buddies are showing us exactly who the bad guys are, you know, and who we need to definitely deal with, not get rid of. Like, you know, I keep watching TV and they say, should Trump go to jail? You know, as if he is some kind of deity or something, you know. And the smart lawyers, you know, the judges, of course he's going to go to jail. But the politicians are keeping him out of jail as long as they can, so they can destroy the Republican Party, right. which is being done now. And so everything is good. Everything I see, I got so much hope for everybody. But I was thinking, you know what really the insurrection? You know what the insurrection really was? It was a rehearsal for a shot movie style. Trump learned how to shoot The Apprentice. And The Apprentice is sort of like kind of, it was based on, it was written and it was kind of based on what Trump would have liked to have been. And so they created, okay, now you're the smartest and richest guy in the world. And he believes it. And so when he, you know, when he ran against Hillary first, he did not intend to win. The thief in him said, you know what? I'm going to get all the press I can get because I'm running against Hillary. But then, of course, the people will never vote me in because they're not that stupid. Okay? And so he bet.
He proved him wrong.
He did. He's not as dumb. He's not as dumb as he's been acting like. You know?
Well, he definitely didn't think he was. He definitely went in with, like you were saying, like going in for the, like, oh, this will be great publicity because that's what he.
That's it. And then
it was like it's
and Howard Stern even told him, hey man, what are you doing? You know, you could win, and Trump's kind of, yeah, right. You know. Because that's why Trump thought, oh, you know, his sexual habits and everything else will keep him. No one is going to elect this guy. You know, that's why he talks shit about, you know, the war hero,
everybody.
John McClane.
Yeah, well, yeah, John McCain, right? What his MO was: I run for president, I lose, I write a book, I make a lot of money.
That's right. You know, and I make money.
And then he won. And then it was, holy shit! What do we do now?
Remember, he had a cake made to celebrate his loss, and he was ready to celebrate. Melania started crying. You know?
Oh, for sure. Her whole life was over. That was it. She was like,
she
no.
saw it, and it was. It is.
Yeah.
It is totally.
Yeah.
And here we are. And so
that was actually the most fun to watch her the whole time. I loved watching that.
That shot where he tries to take her hand and she slaps the hand away.
Yeah.
It's over. Yeah, those are some good moments.
Yeah, but you know, Trump's appeal is it's a sex appeal. And it's very strong. And it appeals, see, that these despots, you know, the what's the guy that killed everybody in South America, you know,
Pinochet? Or no, how long we're talking?
There's so many of them.
Which one?
You know, we had him drink the Kool-Aid, you know.
Yeah, this is not the Joe Rogan show. We don't have a production staff that's going to instantly Google
Nah, no one's
anything.
Jamestown. Jamestown. He's talking about Jamestown, right?
Oh,
The,
yeah.
with drink the Kool-Aid?
You mean,
No,
you mean
so
there's
he's
no
in
one
South
around here
America.
that...
You're talking about Jonestown? Or
He said drink the Kool-Aid.
Are you talking
Yeah,
about
yeah, there you go,
Jonestown?
Jonestown.
Jonestown.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, there's no one around that can ask Siri.
Speaking of
I
powerful
still don't know how to do
narcissists,
that. I still don't know how to do it. But what I'm saying is that everything that Trump is a loser. You know, he can't help but mess up and lose. And he always says what he's doing. He always confesses whatever crime he's doing by blaming someone else for the exact crime. You know, and it's such a like a kid. You know, like 8-year-olds or whatever would do. But his and getting back to the Ukraine, Putin everybody got inspired by Trump. You know, because those guys were all kind of like their followers were all of that ignorant sort of level of really non-thinkers. You know, they're just caught up in the world, and they don't know, and they're told what to do, and they're like the lemmings that would follow another one off a cliff because everyone's going off a cliff. You know, so. But the good news is that he showed us how powerful the camera is, the movie camera. Because what we have in our hand, what we're talking now, we have everything. It's a lot smarter than we are, you know. And that's what we have now. So we have AI. We can ask AI, and they're already doing it. We asked AI to write a Cheech and Chong song, and he came up within 3 seconds of one of the greatest songs we'll probably record it later on. So that's where we're at now, and in a few years, we're going to have paradise on this planet
via
and
AI.
it's going to be nice. Yeah.
Or we will have the Terminator, and Skynet will come take Vinny and Mark from us.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want that to happen. We need Vinny and Mark.
No, but what we need? We need a nice environment to grow up in. That's what we need.
Okay.
You know, and we're getting it. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. I'm glad that I'm going to be here to see it come to fruition. You know, it's going to be great. I met Hunter Biden. You know, he's a good artist. He's a real good artist. You know, his art stands the test.
Did you get a glimpse of the laptop, though?
Yeah, right. And guess what? It was full of Hillary's emails.
Hillary's emails and in the
That's
Ukraine.
what was on the laptop.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of like a IOU from the Ukraine.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine that Biden was going to help the Ukraine when he was vice president with Obama? I loved it. Don't you love him all of a sudden finding papers in Biden's office? Don't you love that? Because you know what that did?
They're all the same.
It showed you this is how you do it when you forget the classified document. This is what you do. Just like 911. If you see an accident, you call 911. You do everything right. And then there's no judgment. There's no harm, no foul. And that's what they're doing. And they're just showing the Trump, the crimes over and over and over and over again. I'm almost tired of hearing that, but not really. I can't wait. See, I was in jail with a lot of guys that worked for Trump. Those guys, the lawyers that said, well, I need the money, I need the rent. What can I say? That's why I did it. Think about this. Trump got elected the same time weed was made legal in Colorado.
Yep.
Yeah. That was
We had a party.
It's like God saying, okay, I'm going to give you Trump.
2 years
but
after. Was it 2 years after?
you can stay stoned the whole time. It's up to
We
you.
actually did this when they were doing
That's so
the
high.
when they were doing the counting. We put up a split screen with Idiocracy on one side, and the actual reading of
ABC
the
News.
and it was just like synced so well. We had it all going through a mixer that we would just like lay it over, and we'd listen to the sound from one and watch the visuals from the other. Be like, this is eerily fucking weird. Like, it's so on point. It felt like you were there. You know what I mean? You're like, this is
Love
crazy.
it.
This is crazy.
It's America.
It was.
And I'll tell you, Trump is a great example of how really free we are. Think about that.
Yeah.
We're free to not only elect an idiot like that, but to keep him on, keep him on a short leash. Just watch him dance. Watch him do his thing. I love what's going down. Of course, I'm beyond being an optimist. I've had friends. Now I got friends now. They don't want to sit next to me.
Well, you're a Chongist. You're like the most positive person I've ever spoken to.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That'll be the new religion. In 100 years from now, it'll be like, what do you practice? I practice Chongism.
Well, maybe for a handful of people, but I do have.
Sign me up.
Listen, I do got to go, but I want to do one more thing before I leave you guys.
Sure.
I don't know. Did I tell you about Joel Goldsmith?
No.
No.
Oh, good. Okay, here's his book. His name is Joel S. Goldsmith.
The
Okay,
Master Speaks.
Okay.
Joel S. Gold, the master. That's just one of his books. He's written, and he didn't write anything, by the way.
Oh yeah.
What happened was that he had a couple of young ladies follow him around with a tape recorder, and they recorded his because he never gave lectures. He would channel the spirit, and he would sit in the Wiltern Theater in the 50s, 53, 54, and he gave a series of lectures, and these girls. I don't think they even got their name on there. His followers really made it into books, and every page. Well, what I do, I use it like the tarot cards kind of thing. I'll think of a question, and then I'll thumb the book, and then I'll stop, and then I'll read what the answer is. For instance, I was writing. I write every day practically. It's poetry. It's a lot of things, but I write. And the other day I was writing on my iPad, and all of a sudden Siri comes on and tells me, you don't have to write. I can dictate. You can dictate it to me, and I'll write it for you.
Wow.
And I freaked, man. What? So then I picked up the book, and I thumbed through it, and I stopped, and you know what it was? The Holy Ghost.
Oh,
Damn.
because
The Holy Ghost.
We had a deer hit us.
That's what is hovering around us. That's how close the Holy Ghost is to me right now, right this instant. And I got the chills when I read that. Whoa, it was spooky because I'm so tight with the Holy Ghost now. Is that he'll tell me.
Speaking through Siri, the Holy Ghost.
Wow.
Yeah.
That really, yeah.
It's awesome.
Siri.
Gives you-
Thank you so much for your time and for your stories. And you are welcome back every year. We should make this an annual event and just have you on.
Keep me on the schedule. I'll be here.
You can
Awesome.
call
So
in anytime.
nice, seriously.
Anytime,
Thank you
anytime.
for
And anytime.
everything.
Nice
Anytime.
guitar. Oh, look at the
DabX
guitars.
guitar in the
Oh, look
back.
at that stuff.
They're for sale, by the way.
Oh, she.
Jack will buy 'em.
We'll trade for
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
bagels. Bye.
Thank you.
Take care, man.